welcome to Geekology. I'm David Zabilia.
And I'm Sven Harvey.
Now, when we discussed Leonard, me and you got into quite an interesting discussion regarding our differing opinions on Star Trek.
Yes.
And it's weird because me and you actually have the same opinion on Trek as a whole, but you and I seem to see the fandoms slightly differently. So let's share that with some of the other people and see what they think.
If we go back to what we were doing last time when we were discussing things, he says grabbing his notes. Basically, one of the things that prompted the discussion was the fact that different factions of Star Trek fans seem to react to Leonard's
demise in different ways. To tell you the truth, I was stunned. I phoned you not long after the news had broke, just to see if you'd heard, and sort of, wow. Well, we knew it was coming, but yeah. And I was surprised to find that the attitude of some Star Trek fans had been quite aggressive about it. And I'd said to him, well, I'm not quite sure how these people can call themselves fans and have all this negative energy towards one of the cast, B, an iconic man, but C, and more importantly than all the other things, a fellow human being. Yeah. And then you told me, the Transformer fans have been doing it as well. I was like, what? Why? And the fact that there was Transformer politics, I just, it just didn't seem right. So that led to some interesting conversations.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, it can't be shocking in any way that different fans of Star Trek look at Star Trek in different ways.
No, of course.
And have a preference for a different version of Trek.
Yeah,
because
I saw the most awesome picture. Somebody had taken the picture of Kirk with... No, sorry, correction. Had taken the picture of Pike and First, put Shatner's head and Janeway's head superimposed on the bodies. But they'd done like a seamless job. It was beautiful. And it got me thinking, how great would that version have been? Classic Trek with Janeway as the first officer. That would have been awesome.
Oh,
for me, you'd have hated it.
Yeah, quite possibly. Because it's quite bizarre.
Yeah, but it's the thing. Classic Trek fans see things sort of
well, this is the thing, is that for a long time you had Classic Trek fans who rejected Next Gen.
Yeah.
And majority of them have come across now, but there's still a very small nucleus of people who say that Star Trek ended with
the movies and classic.
Yeah. And some don't even accept the movies, which is mind-blowing.
No, you see, you say that, but some of those people are my friends, and they're in their 70s, and God bless them.
Well, yeah, but they sort of like don't accept the cage as well in some cases, and it's just like that is very small. Yeah, small. Man. Yeah, quite. But when people get particularly aggressive, in some cases, like it's like. Trek died when Next Gen came out.
Instead of saying aggressive, should we use passionate? They get passionate about it.
Well, yeah.
Standoffish and peeling.
Actually, no. I'm going to use aggressive because of the way they deal with people who are fans and stuff that they're not. Because they can be very aggressive towards people, which is completely against Idic.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know my attitude. My attitude's always been, should we talk about this over a pint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite. I mean, this is the thing, is that there's been people who said that Star Trek died when TNG came out, Star Trek died when DS9 came out, Star Trek died when Voyager came out, Star Trek died when Enterprise came out.
They might have had a point. No. Star Trek died when 2009 went, I have an idea, I have a dream. No, don't tell us about your dreams. We've seen pictures of your dreams, they're not good. No, Star Trek will never die, because for Star Trek to die, there would have to be no more fans of the concept of Star. Now, I'm not saying that shows, because fans of TV shows will always be kicking around, but when people give up on the concept that Star Trek was based on, that's the point when Star Trek dies.
And the other thing you've got as well is people keep slagging off both the 2009 film and Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah.
But
I know I shouldn't. But
when you look at the 2009 film, regardless of all the little niggles in it or whatever,
little
niggles about it.
Really? Little?
Yeah.
A smidge?
At the end of the day, it's still not the worst Star Trek film.
No. The second reboot is the worst of the Star Trek.
Yeah, but Star Trek 2009 is still better than certain of the films that came before it. Generations.
Pardon?
Generations. It was a film that existed between Star Trek 6 and First Contact. You may have got rid of from your memory.
There was a film between First Contact.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
What happened to that? Yeah, okay, that was a monstrosity. No, it was Generation. That was a god awful film.
It's the only Star Trek film I actually contemplated walking out of. At least with Star Trek 5, you were waiting for the next little moment that got you back.
Amazing film.
It's just amazing that Bill Shatner managed to get the money to do it.
I liked 5. They journeyed to the centre of the universe to find
Galaxy.
God, that's
mind-blowing.
Awesome!
All the bad ways.
And more importantly, that Enterprise made it.
Yes, well, yes.
Good ship.
Yeah.
Good ship.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The point is the same though. That particular film was more an exploration of I want to say human spirit, but there was lots of aliens, but we'll argue human spirit. About the journey between life and death and belief and love and passion and what you will do for your fellow man, what you do for your friends.
Okay.
It was about true exploration, not just exploration of the universe, but of your own philosophies, of your own way of thinking and ways of broadening those concepts.
Whereas I thought I was just sitting through 2 hours of dribble.
My problem with Generations. I rounded it up to one problem. How did I do that? Okay. One of the problems I had with Generations, and to be honest, it's the only reason that I try and expunge that film from my memory, which is weird considering I own props from it, is that we should never have known what happened to Kirk.
Yeah, quite.
We should. Gene is on record somewhere or another as stating we don't know what happened to Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I did not. I mean, obviously, in the Next Gen era, you know he's dead. He's got to be dead. There's no way he's still around somewhere.
Yeah, but you've already seen 3 crew members from the Enterprise A kicking around too.
Yeah, I mean, McCoy was still kicking around. Scotty's memory seems to be a bit strange, but he seemed to remember. But the point is, we didn't know. And I was fine with that. I do, because you've got to bear in mind, for me, Captain Kirk was my childhood hero.
Yeah.
He was the man who could do it. Forget Flash Gordon. Kirk, he could do it.
Yeah.
And if not, he knew a man who could. Yeah. So dying on the Enterprise B, no. Dying, one of the versions of him dying in the Nexus wave, no. Yeah. The only thing I semi sort of held out hope for with that whole thing was the fact that, technically if you look into it, there would still be a Captain Kirk in the Nexus wave, therefore you could technically go and rescue him and therefore get another series or film out of him. Crowbar plot lines.
Involving the Borg.
No. There's no Borg. That's enough of the Borg. We've done the Borg. Can we leave the Borg alone?
That's where Shatner wrote himself in, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Different people feel differently about films. Yeah. I personally did not need to see Kirk die. Just didn't need to see it. That was not,
fair enough.
Not a thing for me. But Generations...
I didn't need to see the Enterprise D die.
You just didn't need to see the ship go boom.
Yeah, it's like, oh look, we have a Galaxy-class starship being beaten up by a...
Okay. The way the ship was destroyed was ridiculous, but I was fine with seeing it die. I was really good to see the Enterprise D go. I liked the D. The D was a good ship. can't move forward. The ship's got a long lifespan ahead of it. So until you destroy it, you weren't going to get another ship. They weren't going to commission another Enterprise unless something happened to that one.
Yeah, and they needed a new model because the Enterprise D model was a pain in the bottom to film, wasn't
I mean, let's face it. Generations had a lot of things that upset a lot of people. That's it.
But I mean, this is the thing, is that there's always been fractures in Star Trek fandom between the different...
TNG, Classic, Voyager, DS9, blah, 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 blah. Except I've never met anybody who's hardcore animated. I've yet to meet anybody who's like, the animated series fan! The animated series...
It tends to be tied into Classic Trek, though, doesn't it? It's basically, it is the original series, it's just the...
It amazes me how many fans have never seen it.
Yeah. We've got to see more Troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the fact that's on the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Along with Trials and Tribulations, which is just brilliant.
But it's funny though, if you think about it, you've met hardcore fans for every other Star Trek franchise. Never met an animated. If you're that animated fan, please let us know.
Says the man with the cell of the Enterprise in his lounge.
I've got lots of cells. I enjoyed it, but I'm saying I've never met anybody that was hardcore just the animated.
But it's interesting that the reboot polarised fandom.
Oh yeah, in a big way.
To a way that we never seen
no other film did. No other show, no other film
has had that.
Had that effect.
Quite that
2009
effect.
Yeah,
and to a degree, I don't understand. I understand Into Darkness doing it because that was. But 2009, I think the biggest problem with 2009 was not fleshing out things to tie it back in a bit more.
Except for lens flare, they really fleshed out the
lens flare. God, but it would have been probably better to have the whole mentioning the fact that Nero was at Rura Penthe for 20 years.
Oh, if they'd have left the whole plot in, that would have been. You know what else would have really helped? If they hadn't have gone, you know, it'd be a really good idea. Let's make the bridge look like the heart of gold. Or filming this in an Apple store. Yeah. Either way.
I mean, the other things as well is that whole little bit of
the barcode scanners on the counters, man.
Or the little speech from Zachary as well that should have been reworded a little bit, which suggested that because some people have actually grabbed on to that little bit of speech about the alternative reality.
Yeah.
And actually taking it completely to mean that the original Prime Universe no longer exists.
No, the original Prime Universe definitely
exists. Exactly, because that's been stated by Paramount, it's been stated by CBS, it's been stated by the writers, it's been stated by JJ, that the Prime Universe
How about we just state it with the fact that it's on Blu-ray?
Yeah. But some people have jumped on that because of what Spock says, which is basically we've altered it and we will go on this alternate.
Yeah, they will go on that alternate. It means there is still a name.
Yeah, exactly. And people seem to have forgotten parallels and so on and so forth because there have been so many stories where going back in time has altered the future. Well, yes, it's altered that future, but it's only meant that it's forked off in more than one way. Forked.
I heard you say
it. So you've definitely got the Prime Universe, all of the forks off from the Prime Universe.
Oh man, don't even start me on. Okay, right. You got Classic Trek.
Yeah. Which was changed.
5th, 6th episode.
There's a change in the timeline because of a time travel incident of some description.
Yeah.
Even them going back a few hours.
Even in Deep Space Nine, they went, oh, Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not mention Kirk.
Yeah, quite. Yeah. Temporal investigations.
Yeah, it's. Quite. I mean, literally. I really want to say every other episode, but you know that it wasn't, and people will shout at me. But there was a lot of episodes where time got faffed around with.
Yeah.
The movies. Let's look at the films, shall we?
Star Trek 4. How much screwing up of the timeline would that have done, and then created alternative universes? I mean, you've immediately got an alternative universe where transparent aluminium is created by someone different potentially.
Potentially, that one's arguable.
Never cleared out.
That one's arguable.
And then you've got
let's just go with Wales.
Yeah, and then you've got the cut scene where little Asian kid coming out of the house with the used yellow pages turns out to be Sulu's great-great-great-grandfather, and this whole thing, and you're just like...
There was a million things. But, okay, we put all of that aside, we'll pretend that Classic Trek essentially gives nothing to the timeline.
Yeah, okay.
Next gen! Next gen.
I mean, First Contact.
Yeah.
That's massive departure, because that created Enterprise. That created an alternative universe that Enterprise can exist in. Because at the end of the day, everybody goes on about the continuity. Well, of course the continuity is different, because First Contact has changed everything.
But the problem was that Paramount was so entrenched in arguing the validity of Enterprise, they never openly went, it's in a different universe, guys. Are you not paying attention? We got Borg and Ferengi and Klingons, man.
Yeah.
Nobody. Everyone was going, no. This is proper Star Trek. It's the way Gene would have wanted it. It's like, don't argue that. Yeah. You can't comment as to what the man would or wouldn't have wanted. Exactly. You got an idea he'd have liked it. They held on to some of his concepts. Fair enough. But at the end of the day, they were so busy arguing the validity of it that nobody stopped and went,
it's easy to explain.
Excuse me, have you guys forgotten that we're writing science fiction?
Yeah.
This watching me doodle. Ta-da! That's it.
This is the thing, is you had Jamie Cromwell doing a little bit of speech at the beginning of Enterprise, and him basically going on about the NX project, which we'd never heard of before, because that's because he saw the Enterprise E through the telescope. And was told it's called the Enterprise. That's why NX-01 exists and is called Enterprise.
The whole concept, for as you said, First Contact completely wiped all of the stuff out, because they said in Enterprise numerous times, oh, Zephyr Cochrane, ooh, bang of crazy, he went. It's like, oh, yeah. And then they went on about, the way Cochrane went, it's like, well, that doesn't match Classic Trek's Cochrane.
No, because it's a different Cochrane.
Exactly.
That meeting with the crew from the Enterprise E have changed
the entire timeline.
Yeah, and therefore the entire timeline. So you've got at the very least an alternative universe with Classic Trek and everything next gen up until First Contact, and then a different one from Enterprise.
Again, you are using good, sound, sensible, logical arguments for a sensible discussion. Can I please remind you? I feel like I'm throwing stones. It's fiction, man!
I know, but...
Line the hell up! Not you, but the fact that me and you know these arguments so well proves that we've had them too often with people that just...
They don't listen.
No, it's just people that take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. You want to sit down and work out the mathematics of a warp field? Fantastic. Please tell me how you do that. I'm fascinated.
My wife's worked out how the shields would work. I'm like, what?
Yeah, but
you've just got your degree and you've worked out how shields work.
The point is, working on something and being passionate and having fun with it, great. It's all those people that don't have fun with it.
And they start using it as a stick to beat other people.
Yeah, it's like,
that's ridiculous.
Where's the fun in that, man?
No, there is no fun in it. But going back to Star Trek 2009.
Yes. Do we have to?
Yes, we do.
I get picked on.
If they'd have just fleshed certain things out, there's for instance a little scene from Into Darkness. Well, yeah. Just a little bit of a prologue to show, or something at the beginning, even just to show that Spock was on the Enterprise E, and the jellyfish was. Yeah. Designed by Geordie.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who don't know any of this, it's in the comic and book series.
Countdown. If you have a look at the Countdown graphic novel or the comic issues that make it up, that's worth
seriously awesome.
Very, very good. And it turns out Nero and Spock were working together and all this kind of stuff. It's all detailed in there. You've got Ambassador Picard, Data's in command of the Enterprise.
Oh,
it's generally brilliant.
You know what? Whilst we're explaining things like this, guys, Aliens vs Predator. Get all the early comic books that actually make sense and explain it in a proper way rather than all the reboot rubbish. I'm just throwing that out there in case people don't know it, because that's The original AVP stuff was amazing.
Yeah.
The stuff we got after was crap.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to Trek.
There's also a lot of stuff that was in the IDW comics that was all canon.
I like the IDW stuff.
It's all canon because it was written by the guys who wrote the films.
Yep.
Okay, and it basically fleshes out the whole idea that prior to what we saw as the new Enterprise in Star Trek 2009, there was normal Constitution class Enterprise, which was retired and replaced with the same registry number. The entire fleet was replaced because of information they got from the Klingon High Command, who had reverse engineered part of the Narada while Nero was in prison on Repente.
Yep.
So it couldn't suddenly make sense that the technology is suddenly completely different because Klingons... It went wrong. Yeah, I'll give you wrong as well because it doesn't look Trek, does it? But it explains why.
Okay, dude, we're using mobile phones like this, and going, can't see that. So how are you reading a tricorder screen that's this big?
But you know what I mean? It's basically, they can explain why the technology is different is because it's been reverse engineered from...
Doesn't explain ping.
No, it doesn't explain that. But
or pew.
But
phasers should not go ping and pew.
There's actually a scene in Admiral Marcus's office in Into Darkness where they've cut a pan down part. They filmed it where he basically above Marcus's desk is a Constitution class ship,
starship,
a normal and original Constitution class.
Yep.
And they've all basically been replaced by upgraded ships.
Yep.
They also explain that Khan was brought out of stasis early and bio-engineered and given a facelift, literally, so that nobody could recognise him if he turned up in any data tracks.
You know what really helped with that? Changing the actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helped no end.
But regardless of what you feel about Star Trek 2009,
that was funny.
Regardless of what they felt about Star Trek 2009 and Into Darkness, and to be fair...
I think everybody that wants to bash Into Darkness has got a very valid...
I mean, I enjoyed Star Trek 2009 to a degree. There's a lot of stuff
to a degree.
Basically, the characters are fine.
Yes, the actors playing them are brilliant, though I still think Thor would have been a better choice for Kirk.
Yeah. The plot was wholly, but that mainly because of all the stuff that was cut. All the stuff they'd done in the background and not filmed, which they should have put in. Okay, the film would have ended up being 3 hours, but
wouldn't be the first Star Trek film that dragged.
Yeah, and that technology was just wrong. It's too divergent, I would say, and it went a bit too Star Warsy.
Really?
It went a bit too Star Warsy.
Like somebody who was recording a really big demo reel.
Ooh, it might have been on his trailer. Yeah,
it's true.
But
it's funny because it's true.
Yeah. There are things about Star Trek 2009 and Into Darkness to a much lesser degree, I would say.
Okay.
That are useful for the Star Trek franchise and for fandom.
We got much nicer merchandise.
There is that. There is a certain quality to some of the merchandise.
Only some.
Better. Yeah.
Actually, have you noticed that the 2009 merchandise was crap for the film, but all the spin-off classic Trek revamp merchandise was amazing.
Yes, it's amazing that, isn't it?
It's great. Yeah. We finally got shower curtains. I waited years for Star Trek shower curtains, and now I have a transporter in my bathroom. Awesome is that?
But it also got a whole new generation of fans into Star Trek who then checked out the older stuff.
We are on about 2009 here, not the...
No, I think people who'd seen the first one, those are the ones who'd had gone back and they'd seen bits of classic Trek maybe and bits of Next Gen and so on and so forth.
I don't think a lot of people watched 2009 and then went back to classic. I think they all started with TNG. I don't think many of them did.
Oh, I don't know, because the re-releases of classic Trek on Blu-ray and DVD sold really well from 2009.
Yeah, because... all the classic fans went out and bought the remastered.
Well, I don't know, because this is the thing. It wasn't the first time they'd been out on DVD, was it?
Not on DVD, but on Blu-ray.
Yeah, well, it was more the DVD that sold at the time.
Was it?
Yeah. The Blu-ray sales have gone up since then.
I've not seen the sales figures.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Well,
because you've got to bear in mind, in 2009, 2010, Blu-ray still hadn't really kicked off.
Yeah, that's true.
And
so also those box sets were a lot of money.
Yeah. Do you know what's scary now? You can get the box set of all 3 series for £55. on Blu-ray. It's like, whoa. The other thing it proved is that the Star Trek can continue. It can be reinvented and attract a new audience.
Actually, you know what? That's the one. I will quite happily bitch and complain about 2009 with the best of them, but I will take my hat off to the man for doing it.
Yeah,
fair play to him for doing it. Okay, I don't love the product he came out with. I don't feel it's particularly in keeping with the ethos of Star Trek. Correction, I don't believe it's completely in keeping with my beliefs in the ethos of Star Trek and what Gene originally wanted.
Yeah.
But he got them to redo the franchise after they'd totally given up and got rid of all the backlots. Fair play to him for that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are lots of arguments that he only did it as the big demo reel to get what he wanted, which was Star Wars. Now, whether that's true, no one's ever going to be told whether that's true. But fair play to him for getting Trek Wing.
I mean, this is the thing: is at the end of the day, he was signed up for a contract with Paramount that was for 3 films originally, I believe. Yep. And they said, "We want you to do this one," and he literally went to them. Okay, that sounds good, but one of the films has got to be a new Star Trek film. At which point, everybody at Paramount just went, "You what?"
Yeah.
So I
mean, you've got to admit, I'd love to have been a fly in the wall for that.
And without that, we wouldn't have the remastered stuff. Let's be honest.
No, I think we'd have still got the remastered. What I don't think we'd have got is the investment from fans in the next phase and some of the other Fandom projects. And the fact that a lot of really well-known Star Trek actors are on board with a lot of the Fandom stuff. That blows my mind that they're getting them on board for
I'm looking forward to Annexar.
Yeah.
That looks really interesting. But the most important thing that it proved, and this is from a storytelling and quality of the film point of view, is that Star Trek isn't supposed to be a film. It's a TV show.
It's meant to be a series. Yeah, it doesn't.
Star Trek works better as an episodic TV show.
Yeah, but I think if we learned anything from DS9 and Voyager, it does not have to be an overarching story arc.
No.
You can do it purely, you can go either way, but Enterprise kind of went, it's not necessarily in our interest to do that way.
It was interesting with Enterprise that they tried doing the story arc for season 3, which was okay, but didn't seem to suit Star Trek in that way. But this is the thing, is maybe a war theme doesn't really suit Star Trek.
No, it doesn't. Well, what has my argument always been about DS9?
Yeah, you didn't like it once the war started.
Once they started the whole Dominion Wars, I was like, oh, pardon, what? Yeah. And that whole, landing troops on planets, and it doesn't sit.
It's too dark for you. It's too dismal, isn't it?
Well, no, it's just not sensible when you've got bleeding starships that can destroy a planet. Why are you going to piddle about landing troops?
It's supposed to be to capture places, but you're sure you can just beam down and whatever. And
the fact that holographic technology didn't move fast enough for that. I'm sorry, but if that had been me, I'd have been running around with at least 2 or 3 holo projectors. Might have been a big heavy backpack, but there's 5 of me shooting at you.
Yeah, which one are you going to shoot?
Yeah, I'm not being funny, but if you look along the technology, Worf managed to design a portable shield. How come he got one from a comm badge and a bit of tweaking?
Yeah, on a holodeck.
Well,
during a Wild West scenario.
Yeah, he was on a holodeck, but the point is still the same. Technically, if you really wanted to argue, it's possible. I mean, the animated series, they had spacesuits built into bottles.
Yeah, right.
You telling me that
the guys at New Voyages Phase 2 are trying to replicate?
I know, that's going to be another.
So cool.
But the thing is, there's lots of things about the battle scenes in Star Trek that never make sense. A phaser can have a wide angle beam capable of doing everything in front of it from a 45-degree angle
something like that,
out.
Yeah. I mean, the
multiple fires.
The technical manual for the D-Enterprise D basically suggests that the damn thing could just hand over control to the computer and take on about 50 targets.
I can't remember what it was. There was a TV science fiction TV film in the 80s about a ship that basically had a couple of guns on it, and somebody went, hit the weapon button. It's like, what's that? And he hit it, and this thing just span around like that, destroyed everything in the air, and then just ran out of power. And it's like, well, yeah, the Galaxy class could do that.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be
quite the phaser banks move, it's not...
exactly. But this is the thing, is Star Trek really needs to come back to television.
Oh God, yeah.
A lot of people have been saying this for a while. I mean, even Michael Dorn said it years and years ago and wanted to do something with Captain Worf, which would have been hilarious.
Oh, it's amazing how many of the actors seem to think that their characters should get... Let's ask George. I'm sure George would have a couple of ideas.
I'd quite like to see George in command of the Enterprise B, actually. That'd be quite cool.
He could do it. But the thing is, Riker, quite easily. Geordie, definitely. Okay, I don't think Brent would actually be interested, but
I think
Brent could definitely hold his own show.
I mean, I think the thing is with Data, if Data was to be brought back now, you'd have to have him as CG.
No, you could bring that, but you could just bring back Data. You just explain that the new version of Data, which was the other version of Data, he just ages. It was one of the things built into. There you go.
Well, there is that. Solved. But I mean, but Brent himself wanted to stop doing it because he didn't think it was believable having an older version of the android. So
I disagree. I think in order to make it more believable, you'd build in all that stuff.
No. But I mean, to get round, this is the things. If Brent wanted to come
Fiction!
back, exactly. If he'd only want to come back if Data was done CG, the technology exists now to do it.
Oh, gotcha.
So you could have Data, or you could have him literally walking around in just green screen suit.
Yeah.
Doing his lines and stuff, recording the lines, and just map over the top of him.
Yeah, costs a small fortune, but you could do it. Yeah. Not even that much now. They're getting better with that. They're getting better at it.
So, you've got plenty of things we could do, or rather CBS could do, but CBS still haven't said that they're doing anything, and it's the 50th anniversary next year. I mean, come on. I know.
I'm wearing the 25th anniversary top.
Again. It is kind of scary, isn't it, that you've got a almost 25-year-old top on.
I've got a 10th anniversary jacket.
Yeah.
I got one of the 10th anniversary jackets. Yeah. Rock and roll, man.
But there's actually a campaign, hashtag Trekback and Twitter at
Oh
Trekback.
God, there's got to be a billion campaigns. You know what the problem is? There's always been campaigns. It's getting the buggers to listen.
Well, yes, there is that.
One unified campaign.
I was quite...
It's trying to herd cats.
Yes, yeah. I mean, one thing that I quite enjoyed was the fact that I put this picture up on Twitter, which I'll put the proper image up on in a minute. So, with this image, I put this up onto Twitter, and Nicole de Boer actually loved it.
Nicole loved it?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I was just like, yay!
Does the girl need some work? Is that what it is? She's a fabulous actress.
Yes, a very underrated actress, I'm afraid.
To be absolutely fair, LeVar is they're all good actors.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that you've got Jonathan Frakes and LeVar Burton there immediately, who could direct some episodes.
Yeah.
And would be,
Oh, they'd be great episodes.
Exactly. So what I've basically got here is the nucleus of an idea, which is essentially that these three ships, that's the Enterprise E, while it still is going, the Challenger, which is a Galaxy class ship, and this Columbia ship, which is Vesta class, the same as the Aventine was supposed to be. The idea being somebody's happened to the Aventine and Dax has got command of this one. Obviously the names of the ships are quite important.
Yeah.
Because all three of these represent space vessels that have been destroyed.
Yeah.
With massive loss. Well, two of them was a major loss of life, and we lost one person on the Virgin Galactic Enterprise. But these three ships will be based at Geek-station potentially, and you could have episodes involving just the one ship being somewhere.
Yeah.
So you literally could have blocks of filming where you'd only have the one crew involved, and you could redress the sets of the different ships, keeping the costs down. And thank you to Carl on Facebook, because when I put this picture up on Facebook, I got quite a lot of interest back, as you'd probably imagine.
Oh yeah.
And the whole idea of having it as almost an anthology show.
Yeah.
So you can literally have episodes happening away from the main core. So, for instance, you could be at, say, Starfleet Intelligence.
Yeah.
You could be at Starfleet Academy. Hell, you could even go
People
back.
have been banging on about the Academy for years.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. You could go back. You could have episodes set during the period of the Enterprise C, or
you could have them set at various different points in the timeline.
But what I would do is, as a whole, because I know they've got this idea about sort of like feature television, sort of like event television series.
Yeah.
Is what you could do is maybe only have it as a 13 episode series, a 13 episode season. And have things like a couple of episodes with the Enterprise E, a couple of episodes on the Challenger, a couple of episodes on the Columbia, maybe an episode of Starfleet, maybe an episode involving Starfleet Intelligence, maybe episodes on the within the Excelsior class somewhere in the past, but them all tying together and threads moving towards each other. So the last couple of episodes is finalising a story where threads have come together.
Yeah.
That would work really, really well. I mean, something like you could reference Pegasus because there's a Starfleet vessel with a token device on.
Darn ship.
Yeah, but it would be it could be quite interesting because that one, of course, was directed by LeVar and had quite a lot of Riker for obvious reasons. So you could do that, and you could even say you had a 13 episode season and you wanted to spread it out a bit. You could say, oh, wait a minute, there was an episode of Classic Trek that mentioned some of this stuff. Let's put that on.
Yeah.
And Deep Space Nine and Next Gen. So you could literally go, well, this all ties together and, tell the whole story using references. So, you could actually draw on the fact that CBS has all of this footage, all of these episodes that say something important as part of the story.
Yeah.
Be fantastic. I am going to put up some more ideas as well on the website and some text ideas and stuff, because there's basically I did a rough workup of what I would do and so on and so forth. I had a lot of people input onto it, so refined it a little bit, which is one of the reasons why the USS Columbia is there instead of the Anton. And the fact that the Columbia is NCC 90102 because Columbia, the space shuttle, was OV102, Challenger was OV099, so on and so forth. So it makes perfect sense for a reference to that. There would be a couple of rules involved with this. The Enterprise E probably would have to be replaced by the end of Series 1 because they'd need a new
fit
Enterprise.
With the timeline But that'd be great because we could show the destruction of that thing in a massive way. And isn't that one of the weird perversions of Star Trek fans? We like to see our favourite ships getting creamed.
Yeah, but the one thing I would do is the Challenger and the Columbia wouldn't ever be destroyed on screen. They'd be decommissioned for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
You don't get those.
That
would be messy.
It's in bad taste.
Yeah, completely. But I'm just wondering what else people would like to see on the TV show, because sort of anthology thing. I've actually called it Star Trek Devolve and Go.
Yeah,
which I think makes sense. I mean, what would you do with the show if you had?
Well, that I want to see the Academy.
Yeah.
So I want to see the Academy. But do you know? I mean, one of my favourite episodes of TNG was Lower Decks. Now, a lot of people look at me strange about that. It's like, a lot happened in that one. It's like, a hell of a lot happened in that one if you look at it from different points of view. So having the hierarchical command structure seen from different points is a good idea. Having it from an academy is a good idea. Having a planet-based episode, right? And I don't mean the academy just like an outpost, because there are terraformers, there are frontier Federation officers who are there. An archaeology episode, man, some of the best classic Trek episodes where we've got this archaeologist stranded in the middle of nowhere. Oh, he just happened to find this such and such. Yeah. We don't get those anymore. They were and Next Gen, God bless, Next Gen tried. And I mean, there were some storylines in Next Gen that just were poor. The end of season 2, we never got to find out anything about that. How about we record those? We could do that now. Because it's only, we don't need any of the TNG actors for that. Yeah. all we need is to just pick up where the storyline left off, and you could do a couple of episodes. You could get a whole section done about wrapping that up. Yeah. That wouldn't affect Next Gen's timeline. Exactly. Wouldn't affect anybody's timeline. I mean, what's just wrap up the
you're talking about, not needing Next Gen cast as well. This is the one thing. The Enterprise D.
You don't need any of them.
No, the Enterprise D was 7 years with the same crew.
Yeah.
What the hell? Crew rotations would not allow that to happen, would it? In Federation, I mean, it's not like they actually left the Federation.
5-year mission, no.
Well, no, because the Enterprise D was supposed to be on a 20-year mission, but never seemed to actually leave the Federation.
She didn't go anywhere.
So where was the crew rotations? This is the thing. If you were doing sort of like this kind of story, and you were,
you'd lose officers.
You'd lose officers all the time. You could literally have a situation where you're doing it season by season.
Yeah.
And you could have, well, maybe this first officer's now moved over and had their own ship, and they could turn up in one episode in their own ship.
Yeah.
And all this kind of stuff. You could have callbacks. You could have it organically grow.
Yeah.
Because maybe this is one of the problems, is that perhaps having just the one ship and having just the one crew does get stale.
Yeah.
And you could have the interaction.
But the thing, I mean, okay, one of the things that annoyed me about Voyager was 7 of 9.
Yeah.
Not the character, not the actress, but the politics involved in developing the character. The fact that they had to bring in a sexy looking female to pull in the 18 to 35 demographic. I hate demographics. Demographics is why Firefly and Birds of Prey got gone.
Yeah.
Right? As far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't. Advertising should not be a factor in storytelling. It just shouldn't. So, one of the good things about doing this is, guess what? Oh, we need some hunky men. Great. We need a gay. Put one in. We need to do such and such. Fantastic. Let's have one over there.
Yeah.
Because you're going to thread it into the thing, and they don't need to be main cast members. You could just have somebody interesting every now and then.
And the thing is you can do things like, you can pull ideas from Star Trek Online. I mean, I wouldn't
I like some of the online ideas.
But I wouldn't follow the storyline from online because it's a bit dark.
Yeah.
But then it had to be a good game.
Do you know what if I was in charge of this as a project, do you know what I would do? Which would be shockingly bad, but funny as hell. I would get everybody that has been involved in... No, I wanted to say the good ones, but some of the god-awful ones as well. Anybody that's done the online Star Trek do your own shows thing. Because let's face it, there have been a lot of fan-made stuff. I'd give all of them a chance to be extras.
Yeah.
Maybe even turn up as a main.
Well, this is the thing, is that, I mean...
God bless them for doing their bit.
Well, yeah, a motion picture. That whole scene in the rec deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene in the rec deck was
amazing.
Awesome. So, yes, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't see a huge...
Yeah, but no, this is what I'm saying. You could have because it wouldn't be so rigid, you could have a lot more fun with it.
It'd be fun to see James Crawley captaining in something that looked like a Constitution ship, wouldn't it? That would be really cool.
But you see, this is the thing, though. You can flit around the timeline.
Yeah, you could give him... What's that called again? That ship. It's not the Odyssey class, is it? It's the... I can't remember the name of the class now. That's terrible. In Star Trek Online, there's
I gave
a
up
new version of the Constitution
yes,
class.
There was. There was the in-between one with the better nacelles and the weird saucer section.
Yeah, I'll pop a picture up, but that's basically... I'll write down what it is.
The one you can't remember.
Well. Yeah, the one I can't remember. Oh, my brain doesn't want to work. Oh, that's terrible. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, but the point's the same. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean...
There's a lot of things that could do it, but basically, I mean, me and you could theorise to the end of time about all the things we get. Unless we get a lot of support, it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Which is a shame, because, you know what? I could do with some good sci-fi. We haven't had any good sci-fi in a long time. Although, you know what I would really love to see? If the third classic Trek film doesn't pan out for them.
The third alternate universe.
Yeah. If the third film doesn't pan out and it just dies, which would be a shame, I'd really like to see the actor who does McCoy. I'd like to see him not as McCoy. I'd like him to have a different role on. I'd like to see Captain
Carl Urban. I'd love to see Carl Urban in a Star Trek TV show.
More important, yeah, I'd like to see him as captain of the ship. You know what, so we could quite happily name every actor that we like, and you know what, we could get them all in.
Yeah, this is the cool thing about such an anthology show, is you could have someone in as a guest cast for.
And it's so cheap to put in other ships.
Yeah.
So cheap to do. From a cost point of view, it's so much easier.
Because CBS between CBS Digital and Tobias Richter, surely they'd have enough.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I mean, I know when TNG first came out, we were quite excited that the comm badge was universal, unlike classic Trek where they were for each individual ship. But in the fandoms, they've all been getting their own things,
which makes more sense.
And they can't use the arguments anymore about how much it costs to make props, because every art student from here to Timbuktu will quite happily design you a new badge.
Yeah.
And 3D printers.
Yeah.
You don't even need the guys making models, making moulds, doing this. It's a case of give the artwork, bang it through.
I don't know if American fans are aware of this, but even though over in the UK, Eagle Moss, who do the Star Trek, the official Starship collection, have actually got a 3D printer part where you build your own 3D printer. To give you an idea.
Expensive way of buying.
It's an expensive way of buying one, but you know when you work.
You can buy a budget version in Maplin for like 300 quid.
Yeah, I know.
300 quid for a 3D printer.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy is the fact that I really want one.
You want the replicator though, don't you?
Did you know they do 3D printers that can do human body parts? So they work with They do ones for food to do sugar craft for cakes.
Yeah, and other things now.
They do wood, metal. Seriously, if we could just put all those heads and all those, we have a replicator. It'd be slow. You'd never get a hot meal out of one.
But yeah,
it's good. Cool. But the point is, from a production point of view, they can make this stuff.
Yeah, nothing. As long as the budget is enough, but not too high, this could be very, very viable.
See, I always think that's one of the things. Yeah, they get into paying people a lot of money for it, and it ends up dragging the shows down because they then become so expensive to produce.
But considering the budget that's going into things like Game of Thrones and stuff like that,
it's insane.
Surely something that could be basically done on a lot.
Half.
Yeah. This is viable. Surely it's viable with the number of people who'll be watching it. Surely, and let alone the DVD and Blu-ray sales.
You do know this conversation is going to bang on all night.
Yeah. Let's leave it there.
Okay. Talking about banging on all night. First contact day.
Yes. Very, very soon. Very, very soon.
Yeah,
depending on when this is going out.
Literally.
It's literally maybe a week.
Geek Meet?
Geek Meet. It's in the middle of April. Again, details will be down below along with the first contact stuff.
Yeah.
And the last ever auto assembly in August.
I'm surprised I don't think it'll be the last ever. I just think it's going to be the last one for a while in that format.
It's certainly in that format where it's quite so big. But
shame though, because I like places where people buy me drinks. I approve.
Yeah, starting that 15 years ago was quite strange. But
and on that depressing note, you can subscribe to us here on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. There is of course the official Geekology website, and if you keep it clean and
concise,
would be nice.
Yeah. No
swearing, because this is a family show. We would really like to hear any comments you have towards a new Star Trek show. Yeah. Hopefully in a format that we can throw towards other people going, this is a damn good idea. Look at this. So,
I mean, if you've got an idea for a show, an idea for an episode in something like my idea for Star Trek to Boldly Go, what we'd like to see, or anything like that, that'd be great. And any feedback. What I am going to do though is all the notes and all that kind of stuff we're going to go on the website. So check the website, which will be a link below and possibly here as well. So do check that out.
All right. Thank you and good night.
Bye.